Now in this video we will see the proton NMR spectra and red processes. So as we discussed earlier the spectra of ethanol, we are not getting any splitting pattern for this OH proton. So the protons that are attached to electronegative atoms with lone pairs such as oxygen, nitrogen can undergo rapid chemical exchange that I have already mentioned. That is, they can be transferred rapidly from one molecule to another. So when we take ethanol, actually in that ethanol some water molecules are also there. So there will be a rapid exchange proton between ethanol and water molecule. So what happened, this proton is somewhat detached with this oxygen. That's why it won't couple with this proton B. So let's take an example. Suppose you have a camera and you want to take a picture of fast moving any object, a bike, car, of anything. If that car is so fast, or if that object is so fast, then you won't able to take the picture of that object. That means, so what is happening here is this proton exchange process is so rapid that NMR instrument is not able to record that. Now if you take the anhydrous one, that is the anhydrous ethanol, then this proton exchange will be diminished there. Then if you record that spectra of anhydrous ethanol, you will get a triplet for this proton C and a multiplet for this proton B and a quadruplet for this proton A. So a rapid exchange causes spin decoupling. Spin decoupling is found in 1H NMR spectra of alcohols, amines, carboxylic acid, of OH and NH protons. So what we can do is we can add some D2O, that is deuterated water. When you add that deuterated water in the sample, what will happen is some deuterium will exchange with this OH and NH proton, and whatever you are getting in NMR spectrum, the OH peak, that will disappear. From that you can confirm that there is some OH proton or NH proton, or we can generally say that some exchangeable proton ion molecule. Now come to the conformational changes. So I have taken this bromoethane as an example. This is the Newman projection for bromoethane, and this is the flying wedge representation of bromoethane. Now if you see these two hydrogen which I have colored with blue protons, and this is the magenta proton, these two are in different environment and this single one is different environment. So we expect two signal for this CH3, but practically we are getting only one signal. Now why is like that? Because this single bond rotation is so fast that the shutter speed of the NMR spectrum is too slow to photograph this rapid rotation. That's why we are getting only one signal for this CH3 and only one signal for this CH2, and that one signal is splitted by, for this CH3 splitted by n+1 rule, that is 2+1 triplet, and for this CH2 we getting quadruplet, that is 3+1 quadruplet. Now we will discuss the conformational analysis of cyclohexane. So this is the cyclohexane. If you see, this is the most stable conformation of cyclohexane. In normal temperature, the ring flipping process takes place and this form will be rapidly converted into this form. If you see in this molecule, I have shown here in the ball stick model, you will see there are 12 hydrogen. 6 hydrogens are axial hydrogen. I will count one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 hydrogen are equatorial one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 are equatorial one. If you record the NMR spectrum at room temperature, you will get only one signal. Why? because due to this rapid ring flipping process, NMR is not able to see which is equatorial proton, which is axial proton. Now if you record this spectra in lower temperature like minus 100 degrees centigrade like that, then you will get two signals. For equatorial proton you will get one signal, and for the axial proton you will get another one signal. So this is the conformational analysis for cyclohexane. You can clearly see two signals at low temperature and only one signal at room temperature. So electronegativity, inductive and resonance affects the chemical shift values. So we record TMS as a reference, and that will be 0 ppm, and reference to that, when you calculate the methyl iodide, you can see fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide. So the electronegativity for iodide is very less, so you are getting the chemical shift value at shielding region, and for this you can see the electronegativity is high, so you are getting de-shielding region. That's, you can see the chemical shift value is increasing gradually as the electronegativity increases. Similar, you can see for monosubstituted chlorine, you can see the chemical shift value is 3.1. For disubstituted again increases 5.3, and for trisubstituted again 7.2. Similarly, you can see the nitro group and fluorine group here, the electronegativity is similar, so that's why the chemical shift also 4.3 both the cases, and oxygen is less electronegative than this fluorine and nitro group, that's why the chemical shift value is somewhat 3.4. Now the second effect is the anisotropic effect. So the spherical electron density will generate a induced magnetic field that will uniform in the space, that we call isotropic effect. For example, electron cloud, we can say electron has a spherical electron base. Now if you consider the non-spherical electron density, the induced magnetic field will be non-uniform in space, that is anisotropic. For example, pi electron cloud in aromatic ring and double bond in carbon-carbon, we can see also for carbonyl type, and most often feature in organic molecule. So now I will explain the diamagnetic anisotropy in ethylene, acetylene and carbonyl group. So first come to the ethylene molecule. So in ethylene molecule, this double bond generate an induced magnetic field which generate two type of effect. One is shielding effect, one is de-shielding effect. So this area, this region will be de-shielding region, and this area, this region are shielding zone. So whenever any proton comes under this area, that will be de-shielded, that will be resonate at delta shift value 5.28 chemical shift value, and at this region that will be shielding region. Now if you come to the acetylene group, this will have two region. One is shielding region at this end, and also de-shielding region at this end and at this end. So this proton which is at shielding region will resonate at chemical shift value 1.80. Now if you come to the carbonyl group, if you see, this carbonyl group will generate a induced magnetic field. This will produce a de-shielding zone in this region and this region, and also a shielding zone at this region. So this proton, which is an aldehyde proton, will resonate at delta chemical shift value 9.5. Now come to the diamagnetic anisotropy in aromatic ring. So if you see the benzene ring, it will generate a circulating pi electrons like this. You can see the pi electrons are revolving around this ring, so that will generate a ring current, and that will produce a induced magnetic field which opposes this applied magnetic field at this region. You can see this is the applied magnetic field and it is the induced magnetic field, and this ring current opposes at this zone and reinforce at this zone. So this will be at de-shielding zone and this will be at shielding zone. You can see here also this is shielding zone and this is de-shielding zone, and the protons which are at de-shielding zone, that will come around 7.28 delta value. Then I will explain some example to better understand de-shielding and shielding zone this effect. So for example, this molecule, if you see, this is an aromatic molecule. So in case of aromatic molecule, you see this will generate a ring current. So these two proton will be at shielding zone and this proton at terminal end will be at de-shielding zone. So that's why this delta value, whatever you see, it will come at 7.29 at this end, which is de-shielding zone, and minus 0.51 at shielding zone. Now if you take this molecule, if you see this CH3, these two CH3, you can see that this is at shielding zone because this molecule is aromatic. We can count the double bond 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 14 alanine and is a aromatic compound. So this region is shielding zone and this region is de-shielding zone. That's why these protons resonate at minus 4.2 and these protons which are at terminal end are protons resonate at 8.14 to 8.67. Now this is some interesting case of 18 aniline. If you see the 18 aniline, which is a aromatic one, these protons which are internal protons, that will resonate at minus 3.0, that is negative delta value, and the outer protons resonate at 9.3 delta value. That is this is come at de-shielding zone and this is the shielding zone. Now we will discuss about the anisotropic effect of sigma bond. So I have taken a cyclohexane group. Now the restricted rotation is due to this presence of bulky tertiary butyl group. So due to the restriction rotation, there will be two type of proton here. One is axial proton and one is equatorial proton. So this axial proton resonate at lower delta value and have a shielding effect, and this equatorial proton has a de-shielding effect. Why is like that? Because this sigma bond, which is carbon-carbon sigma bond, is nearer to this hydrogen, so it will experience a shielding effect. Similar result is also for substituted cyclohexane. Like if you substitute nitro group at axial and equatorial position, then also the axial one will be more shielded than equatorial one. And same thing in also hydroxy group. The axial one will come at 3.37 and the equatorial one will become at 3.93.